Okay. All right, I guess I'll call the meeting to order of the January 24th Manhan Rail Trail Committee meeting. We're meeting remotely due to the restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic. So first thing on the agenda is approval of the October meeting minutes. Wow, that was a long time ago. So we have the regular meeting and the Friends of the Manhan Rail Trail. I sent it out with the agenda. Anybody have any corrections or comments or motions?
I motion to accept the minutes of October.
Second? Oh, there's
Second.
Steve. David, you're off the hook. We'll let him get in here.
So we met in November. We didn't approve the October minutes when we met in November?
I don't know. Did I, which ones? Oh, let me see which ones I attached. Did
I think we did already approve these, Barb. I think these are the wrong.
We did? Okay. All right. It was probably just, maybe it was just left over from the agenda. I
Yeah,
thought October seemed a long time ago.
yeah, the ones you attached to the agenda this time were from November.
Oh, they were from November. Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
All right.
October.
Okay. Hi, Steve. All right, we'll kind of start all over again then. So do I have a motion to accept the November meeting minutes?
I move we accept the November minutes.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in, any comments or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I guess we'll go on to the trail maintenance update. I was hoping Peter would be here, but things obviously are pretty quiet right now. I've noticed the trail was pretty much plowed the whole way after the little bit of snow that we've had. Of course, we still don't know who's doing it, but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it got done. So that's good.
One of
We
these
have,
days we'll catch them.
yeah. Well, I know Williston does a pretty good chunk of it, but beyond that, I don't know. We have had some graffiti. Our senior tax work-off girl, she sent me pictures. Somebody is graffitiing the side of our shed. They did it last week and then they've added to it. So I am going to reach out to the police department and to Williston just to see if maybe they can keep an eye out and if they see somebody over there adding more of it. Obviously, we can't do much about it now. We'll have to wait until the spring. There was a little bit on the path too, but most of it's right on the side of the shed. On the shed that is on the opposite side from Payson Avenue. Yeah. So, but I am gonna, give a heads up to the police department in Williston to just see if they can keep an eye on that. What can you do?
Barb, there's also a little bit on the passport I noticed today when I drove past.
Probably the same person.
It was white, kind
Yep.
of spriggly.
Yep. I'm just, I'm a little nervous about the mural. As Steve always mentions that the lights still aren't that great on the mural, but.
Yeah, can we segue to that just for a moment?
Yes. Yep. Why don't-
Because John is here. John, I was just hoping that, how you had mentioned that Williston wants to put lighting wherever it's most easiest to do right now. And I don't know if they're thinking of by the mural, but we could use one more light there at
Okay.
the end. And that would really, because it's half illuminated now, but the other part looks kind of dreary and a little bit foreboding. I mean, it's kind of dark there. It's almost like an alley. So another
Okay.
light would really help.
So all the fixtures are working now, though, on Tandem Bagel that we talked about before, the ones at each end?
Yeah. Oh, at both ends?
Yeah, there's fixtures at both ends that they fixed.
Okay, then I haven't been there. I usually stop on my walks. I usually stop and turn around at at Union, so I usually don't go down there. I haven't been down there for a while, but I'll take a look at that then.
So John,
I'll stop there and look.
Okay.
I've been keeping an eye on the lights that they said they were going to add more immediately, but I'm not sure. You guys all saw the email about all the plans that they had and all the quotes. So I don't know if they're going to wait till spring now at this point, but
probably.
some of the fixtures were supposed to be added sooner, like a month ago, but I haven't seen any movement on it. But I will go there to Tandem and check it out and get back to the facilities about it.
Fantastic.
That's great because they have had lights there. It just seemed like they weren't working for a while. Is that right?
That could possibly be the thing. And I feel like there's something going on where there's a timer in Tandem Bagel that needs to get reset with daylight savings and that kind of thing. That's messing it up. I have a feeling it's something like that.
Well, maybe when I send the email to Williston alerting them to the graffiti that we're seeing, well, I can just mention that, we're concerned about the mural and hope that, if you can let me know, John, that if you see that those lights are all set, then that's great. But
yeah. And then if not, I can, go when I speak with them, I'll go back with, just my thoughts and some suggestions about, and then have them take a look too, about what we can do because, if we do all this other lighting on the other side of the street, all the way down to the skating rink, then it sounds to me like that's going to be the dark part, the mural, which sort of like the central downtown part to be lit.
I guess because there has been graffiti on our shed, that is one good indicator that it would be good to have some lights there.
Right, and the shed is on the other side of the street next to the firehouse, right? In the back lot of the firehouse,
right?
But sort of near the trail, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It's right next to the trail. It's right near the Williston, the parking lot.
Also right next.
And
to the
that's where
police
they were supposed to add
department
lights
as well, by the way.
first.
Right.
Sorry, Steve, I talked right over you.
Oh, so now I'm the one that talked over you. Sorry. I was just saying also right beside the police department, but that's.
Yep. But come spring, that'll be a project. We'll have to get the side of the shed repainted because it's pretty bad right now. Terry also had some pictures. Boy, that overpass, the Park Street overpass. It's the annual really icy area. They put some cones out, but boy, I wish they could just do something about that. That's
a safety hazard.
It's been like that since, forever. And I just wish there could be something they can do, but they do have some cones out there now. So, and I guess, people know that it's a problem. It's not like it's something that's unexpected. So.
Well, yeah, but not everyone, could be their first time on the trail and then.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm glad they have cones out right now. Yeah.
Now, Barb, when you say they, is it Williston or the city?
I'm assuming it's Williston. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but there were cones and I don't think our DPW, and we haven't put any out. So I think it's Williston because, they have their maintenance place is right there. And I do think they keep an eye on it, so. Yeah.
Isn't that really a source of liability for the city?
Well, it could be definitely, but I mean, I don't know how it could be fixed.
And I got caught and I thought,
Well, I mean, they would have to redo, the way to fix it is to.
Exactly, yep.
All right, who's talking back there? Peter? do you have-
Somebody's not on mute. Peter, is that you? Are you on mute? Okay.
Okay.
No, he's not muted. There was somebody had some audio on the computer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have no idea what to do about that.
Well, the only way of really fixing that would be to do the whole overpass over. They were
Yeah.
planning on that one time.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Well,
So-
has this ever been presented to like the city council or to the mayor as an issue that needs to be addressed by the city?
Well, I know the DPW's looked into it. I mean, it's nothing the city council has anything to do with. And I really don't think it has anything to do with the mayor. I think it's more of like a DPW utility company issue. And it's been brought up to them many times, and the solution is just, I don't know what it is. It's something to do with the utility conduit, I think, that goes there. I think truthfully, the whole bridge would need to be redone and something like that. So I don't know how we would do that. I mean, we could bring it up to the DPW again, but I mean, how many times have we mentioned this in the past? I don't know. But
I think it's worth asking, and maybe, this is a year when it's going to be an issue given the weather. I don't know. I think it needs to be addressed, and maybe there's a short-term solution other than just redoing the whole bridge, which I'm sure is.
I think they tried to put some like gutter kind of things. I mean, to try to redirect the ice and, the water, and that just hasn't worked either. I mean, I have a picture of it. I can send it, to Williston when I send them about the graffiti and the DPW. I mean, maybe somebody can come up with something new, but I'm just not sure. Without taking the whole bridge out and redoing the whole thing, I don't really know what the solution is. But anyway.
It's worth a try.
Yep. So now that we've got Peter on, Peter was in the other day, and the letters on the bottom of the mural, they're delaminating pretty seriously now. And this has been ongoing for a while, but I think it's kind of reached the point, at least maybe on the bottom part of the mural, that we probably are going to have to be looking at taking off the ones that are there and getting some new letters made. Peter, I haven't had a chance to look up at that company at all, but did you want to talk about that at all? Your ideas? No?
Excuse the extra voices in the background. My wife's on another meeting and FaceTime. But anyway, yeah, the letters. When did you want to look at that? I mean, I looked at some material called color core.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many are familiar with that. They use a lot of that in signage for parks and stuff.
Yeah. It's the same material that we use for our trail signs.
Oh, yeah, the mile markers I think are made out of it. And it would just be forever. It'll outlast the mural itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really.
Did you happen to get a price on that, Peter?
I had it a few years back when I looked into that, but I'm sure the price has gone up.
Okay.
What's the material called again?
Color core.
Color core?
Yep. So Peter had an idea that we could maybe go down and kind of like peel off. You tell me if I'm telling this wrong, Peter. You kind of peel off the top layer of the letters and then use that as a pattern to trace to on the color core material, and then you could cut it out with a jigsaw or something like that, and then we would put them on, replace the letters that are there on the mural. Does that sound about right, Peter? Yeah. So I think if we can maybe get the material, find out more about it, maybe that'd be a good winter project for Peter now that he's feeling a little better. And Rich could help with the installation, I'm sure, too. So I think maybe we should look into that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and again, we used to get it from Sign Graphics. I don't, is there another sign place in town that might give us or can get some samples for us or anything?
Well, there's a sign company that we used for a adoptee. It's called Porcupine Signs. It's in one of the mills. I mean, maybe they could, or we could probably just go online and get a sample of it ourselves. And we know what it looks like.
While we're talking signs, Barb, were we going to get the signs for Ferry Street crossing? Remember?
Forgot all about that.
We could kill
I
two
think-
birds with one stone.
I think it's done now, the crossing. You mean on either side of Ferry Street, saying that it's Ferry Street, right?
Right.
I wonder if Greg can do that. Okay. Oh, speaking of Ferry Street, we did lose the top out of one of the bollard covers somehow down at that Ferry Street area. I talked to the DPW superintendent, and he actually went ahead and he ordered a few of various sizes. So if they are damaged again, we could we'll have extras.
I think we have one in the shed,
Yeah, I told him that.
but just one.
Yep. The one by the
Where-
Lovefield Street crossing needs to be covered because the thing doesn't have any color on it, and if we're going to keep it there, it needs to have a cover, I think. But
Didn't we talk at one time about getting rid of the bollards?
we do. I think in some places they're good to have. But yeah, I think there are some that we probably should get rid of. So I don't know if everybody knows here, but the Union Street project is moving along. There was a vote at the city council meeting, and they're actually thinking they might put it out to bid hopefully in March. So work could begin this summer. That's going to change the Union Street bike path crossing quite a bit. And the reason I bring it up now is I noticed that the bollard right at Union Street is all like crooked right now. But I think it's going to be gone anyway. I don't know what's going to happen with our kiosk, whether we'll have to have that moved or whether they'll work around it. Even the little free library, I was thinking, are we going to have to move that? I don't really know what the configuration is going to be like right there, but and I don't know when it would happen because this is going to take, the project's going to go on for a while. But
So does Jeff have plans or something that we
Yeah.
can look at? I mean,
yeah, and he's brought them here before, quite a while ago. They had 100% plans probably a year ago. They're going to do like it's not going to be a straight across thing. It's going to be, so
Like it is at Ferry Street.
Yep, there's going to be a curve kind of thing.
okay. Well, that's good. It'll slow people down a little bit.
I think I told Jeff, I said, if the kiosk does have to be moved, that will have to be part of the project. And he said, yeah. So anyway.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they're shifting where it's crossing, so it's 90 degrees to the road and not in line with itself.
Yeah, that sounds kind of right.
Yeah, exactly.
I know we've seen pictures of it, but it was a while ago.
You can see, I think if you go to the city planner's website,
Could be.
you might be able to pull up the plans and see how they got it going across.
Yep, you could be right there, Peter. Yep. But any other trail issues that anybody knows of? Pretty quiet this time of the year.
Yeah, that young lady, well, the lady who volunteered her work or for
Terry.
us, yeah, is she gonna be back?
She still has 40 hours to be used in the spring, so she'll be at least back for 40 hours, and I hope we can extend it beyond that.
Yeah, because she was a great help last fall, and
She-
I didn't have to do any blowing of leaves at all.
You did it. Wow.
No.
Yeah.
And
No,
I ju-
no, she sent me the pictures of the graffiti and the ice today. So even though she's not working, she's still out there, walking and letting me know of things. So,
And I took care of the tractor battery. I took the battery out and I started up the tractor before that and got it running and started right up. So pretty good for the spring, I think.
good.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So John, is there anything, and there's nothing really new on the streetlights beyond what you're muted. You're,
No, I haven't talked to anybody since that email, but I will reach out to them, just try to get a timeline on the lights.
Yeah,
When they're thinking of starting, because I think that with all of the ideas that they had, once they do all those ideas, there's probably not going to be that many dark sections after that, except for maybe when you first go in over the pond and into the woods.
mhm.
That area won't probably get the light from the building, but the building they're talking about putting the lights on is going to reach a good percentage of the trail.
Mhm.
And then if you saw, they're going to put lights on the skating rink facing into the trail,
Oh,
and then on the bridge, the Park Street Bridge, facing in either direction.
okay.
So if they do all those things, that's going to probably get 80% of the trail.
Yeah. In that section. Yep.
Yeah.
Has everybody seen the new lights that they put on down at the Millside Park, the entrance to the Millside Park?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you haven't been,
Are they on yet?
Yeah.
yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, five double lights, so it really lights up the area, but they're not like super bright, so it's just like, kind of it's like the rest of the trail, so it's good.
Great. Okay. Anything else? Scott, do you know of anything connection wise that we should be, any new news?
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to just let everybody know about. And a lot of this is because I'm on the CPA committee. And so at the last meeting, Jeff Bagg, the city planner, applied, or you had to go to 2 meetings. So it was the first of 2 meetings. So it wasn't voted on yet, but presented an application to get funds to buy the parcel of land that goes from the trail, that would go from the trail up to Ward Avenue. So right before the bridge,
Oh, right.
right before the Park Street Bridge.
Oh, right.
And so that is part of the huge project that he talked to us about a few months ago, that he did the application on in December, the Safe Routes to School grant that we haven't heard from yet. That would, basically go from the trail, connect up to Ward, but then it would create a side path on the, where the existing sidewalk is. That would become an 8 to 10 foot bike path extension, side path on Park Street, like along Park Street, all the way to the school. That grant doesn't fund land acquisitions, and so that one little piece, like everything else, for the most part, is in the sidewalk right away. But that one little piece is owned by Phillips Manufacturing, the door factory that is, abuts the path there. And so he came to the CPA and presented this. All the members in the CPA were really for it and said, either regardless of the grant, we want to move forward with that because it would just make a lot of sense, even if it's just up to the sidewalk, to be able to access from the path up there. So that was last meeting, and that seemed really positive.
What kind of money was that? Do you
It
remember?
was it was like $110,000.
Okay.
I think it was the appraisal, and then he had other like closing costs. I think the application was for like 130,000. So it wasn't tiny, but I think the CPA committee felt the urgency of, like at this point, the factory that's there, the owners are willing to, to engage on those discussions. In the future, he might not own it, someone else might own it. So really wanting to move on that because it seems pretty critical to get, there's no good way. Right now, you'd have to go underneath to Williston where they did pave that little, that little section, but then cut through their parking lot and then go around. And then the sidewalk is on the other side, so that you'd have to cross back on it, grade on. So, it does seem like a really important piece. And so he's going to come back next month with further details, and then we'll vote on it next month, and then it would go to city council.
To the city. Yeah, I mean, I think there's been like informal paths, up that hill ever since we built the path. So I think it when you look at that, people, it's not very easy because it's pretty steep, but people have been, going up that little hill right from the beginning anyway. I think it's.
Yeah, I think that the plan is to make
is a
a
good
switch
thing.
back.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, I think, is it
thing
that
is-
whole section? I mean, that whole little bank that they want to do?
Yeah, and because it would be separating it from the parcel that the factory's on. Like right now, it's all one parcel. Because it would be split, I guess you need to then have like setbacks. So you need, and because it's industrial, it's like a 30-foot setback. So it'd be a pretty big piece. Then it would be like the drawing that he had. It basically came at the trail at a right angle. I have it somewhere if you want to see it. I don't know if people want to see it, but basically it came at the trail at a right angle, kind of went up and then curved around and went up. So it kind of does switch back up to make it, I think it's ADA compliant.
Yeah.
So
That sounds wonderful. Yeah.
so yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it would be really, I'm excited
The other
about
thing
whole
is,
project, but I think that piece would be really great.
the other thing is that because there's no good entrance there, a lot of people go through, actually I go through Phillips Manufacturing. At the other end of the building, there's a path in the back and you just rip through there to get on. And that would stop people from, doing that as much.
Yeah.
If there was an official
Right. I don't
way
think it
to
would,
get on.
it's not going to stop it altogether, but it'll be more direct to the route that eventually, if they get that thing on Park Street, it'll be more direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Good. Well, that's good
So, yeah,
news.
so that's good. And so that's one. And then there's actually another, which is at the CPA meeting. So that was just last week, but at the December CPA meeting and the November CPA meeting, which was right after, the November one was right after our last meeting. Jeff came to the CPA with the application for the skate park, which is, in back of the plan being, and this is the application for the design of it, for the skate park to be designed in behind City Hall and the public safety complex. And I know right after our last meeting, I sent out an email to everyone saying like, I thought about it more and I really, we had talked for years about having that connection from the path in back of those buildings, like down to the water. And so I kind of took off my Manhan Rail Trail hat and put on my CPA hat. So when we came to the CPA meeting, I said, hey, this is great. One of the things the Manhan Rail Trail said years ago was that this was a high priority to connect this. And if we're going to have a skate park, seems beneficial to have the skate park connected by the path. And it would be beneficial to a lot more people than just people using the skate park, because you could connect the path that would go all the way through. And so we talked about that for a lot. And then other people on the CPA were for that. So when he came back in December, the application was increased financially to be able to build a path connection from the current path all the way down to the crosswalk for the bike path.
Wow.
Yeah, that money was approved at the January 19th city council meeting. I mean, personally, I have a lot of concerns about the loss of parking in our parking lot. Not only for the skate park, but if we were to add, a path along the edge, we really, but I mean, that's what the design is for. I mean, to look at that, because we can't lose a ton of spots in that parking lot. And but that's what the design is for. That's why you have somebody do a design. So I'm not going to say I'd shoot it down right now, but I really need to see that the design for losing as few parking spots as possible.
And that definitely came up, Barb, like in the discussion. And, it was exactly what you said. It was basically like, okay, well, let's figure out the design of this and let's figure out how we can do this with losing as few parking spots as possible. That was, people were definitely talking about that in the CP, when the CPA approved it. I'm guessing they probably did when the city council did too, but that was definitely something that, is, on the radar as far as something that would be a big concern.
Right.
But I think, my hope personally is that I think there's ways to do it with very few spots being lost. And that, if you can get people skating to the skate park instead of driving and parking, then you save a parking spot right there.
Yeah.
And I also think that there's also some space in the whole area of municipal buildings to add parking.
I was thinking the same thing, John. You're right.
Like where?
Yeah.
Up front, right near the road, between the two parking lots, there's like huge chunks of grass.
Well, there's a big hill though, too.
Yeah. So what? They have,
what are you going to park on a hill?
No, they'll just make a retaining wall up against the fire station and add 10 spots along there, just like they did in behind the mills.
There used to be a hill under the ferry street where they put that roundabout. They flattened that hill. They can do whatever they want. Those guys are
exactly.
amazing,
Yeah, I think that would be a whole different project.
Well, it would. But there is room for more spaces for sure.
The point is, don't wreck this if there are alternatives to give you the parking that you need.
Right.
Take a look at them with an open mind,
Well, that's what the design is for. So that's why you do a design. And I think they probably will have a couple of them. So anyway.
I've felt really positive about it the past few months, with both of these projects. I mean, just thinking about from whenever that document was that we came up with that, list of
open space,
list of priorities. I think it was like 5 years ago. I know it was before Nicole. So that's over 4 years, right? And that the top three priorities, like one was connecting the new school, and that's in progress, and one would be connecting the path down to the pond, and that that could potentially be in progress. So it's nice that we put these things out there and eventually they years later they get traction. So
true.
Well, I think that combined with the lighting, I mean, finally we're getting some really good news now, and we got that little extension near the pond, which is really cool. Yep. I mean, if anyone has not walked it gives you a beautiful view of the pond, which was always there before, but it always looked so crappy that you never wanted to go there. Now you can park there and just take a nice little walk right there.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, thanks, Scott. Thanks for the update. Yeah. So the next thing on the agenda, we're working with Northampton to get a new map. I think we talked about this at the last meeting or something, but Liz and Wendy and I went to the meeting last week. Was it last week or the week before? And I mean, do you guys want to, Wendy, why don't you give an update on it? So you're muted.
So Northampton is totally on board. In fact, they've taken the lead, thankfully. I was happy to see that. And then it kind of morphed into joining in with another application that they're doing because they're redoing their whole online map system. Is that correct, Liz? Is that how you interpret that? Yeah. So we're kind of, instead of doing our own little grant, we're going to do this larger grant and be part of this project. So it's encouraging, and the application, I think, is due very soon. And so we'll find out, I would imagine, within a few months. And so everybody seemed to be in agreement that we do want to continue with both a physical paper map as well as an updated online map. So that's what we're shooting for. We talked about doing ads versus not doing ads. And I think the idea was, if we can get a grant, instead of going out and begging all these businesses for money for ads that are going to be potentially outdated within months or years, that would be an advantage. So that seems to be the way everything's leaning at the moment. So it's all good. I was encouraged, and Northampton, they did a lot of work and got a lot of the right people on board to come to the meeting, and I thought it was very fruitful.
Yeah, they're going to do, the plan is to do fewer. Is that right? Not as big of a run as we did last time, correct?
Correct. I think they're going to see what they get for money, and then we'll
go from there.
Print as many as we can, given the money that we have. We don't even know what the new estimate will be. It hadn't been priced out at that point, so we don't know, because obviously prices for everything have gone up. So we're not sure how many physical boxes of maps we'll get, but we'll get as many as we can. And I think the idea was to print fewer, but update them more frequently, because things are changing so rapidly, connecting to the canal trail down to New Haven. And Craig Della Penna was on the line, so he was talking about the one out to Boston. So anyway, that seems to be the plan, is to just update them more frequently, keep them more current, and print fewer at a time.
Another good thing about not selling ads is that if you don't have to have a lot of room taken up by ads on the paper map, it gives you more room to put more useful things.
And
like,
to make the maps bigger, make the map area bigger.
Right, to have room for blow-ups of key areas and links to how to see the digital map, and also to point out that we are part of this whole corridor from Northampton to New Haven, and how to tie into that.
Yeah, I think they were talking about QR codes possibly. So people, if they were riding their bikes and had their phones, they could just use that QR code to get whatever additional information they needed.
Right. And
Yeah, you can do
the same cartographic people will be working on both sides of the project at the same time. So it's not, we've got one set of map makers updating the paper map and somebody else updating the digital thing. It'll all be happening as one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have those QR codes like at the state park. You can get the map of Mount Tom or whatever on your phone when you walk in there. So that really is a cool thing.
Yeah. So we'll keep the Northampton to New Haven committee updated on the fact that we're updating our part of the map. And then that'll get linked into the website for the whole corridor.
So I guess that begs the question, given our discussion this evening, whether it'd be premature to include some of these connections that aren't built yet, or whether we could at least put a line there with planned or something. I don't know. We'll have to see what the timing is once we get the money and start working.
I think it might be a little bit premature, but I guess we could kind of tell Jeff what we're doing and see what he thinks. But it might be a little too soon. I think the one at Ward Avenue, I mean, I see that maybe happening, but of course, even after you buy the property, you have to build it. So
Right.
you don't want to have people think there's a connection there and have nothing. So it might be something for the next reiteration of the map.
Well, don't they usually have like, you can put like dotted lines to indicate,
Dash.
proposed?
That's what I was
or-
going to say.
Yeah,
Yep.
you could.
I like the idea of putting a dotted line with like, proposed
Future.
because it also builds awareness of it, builds support for it.
Right. Good point.
Yep.
Yeah, the maps that I see like from down in Simsbury, they have a few different things in the legend. They have under construction,
Mhm.
and I mean that's for online, so they can update it easily, I suppose. And then they have future expansion or planned, and it's dotted lines.
Yeah, the dash line of proposed or something could go in there, maybe.
Even Southampton's is already in the DOT planning for construction.
So I got a letter of support today from the Chamber of Commerce. Wendy, is there any way you could stop down to the office next day or two? I can have that letter so you can sign it. The one that with both of our signatures on it.
Okay. Yep. I can do that. I can do that tomorrow.
I'll print out your revised thing and if, whenever you happen to be by.
Is
Okay.
this for a particular issue or?
It's the grant application.
Oh,
in support of the grant. And the mayor's gonna hopefully get something too, and maybe Jeff too.
Great.
So I don't know. I don't know when the deadline is, but
Which
It
grant
was,
was
it
it?
was soon.
which
I think
grant?
it was pretty quick.
yeah. This
Which
is,
grant are
it's a mass recreational trails grant that they would use to fund the new brochure instead of having
Oh,
to get
okay.
ads.
Right. Okay, for that. Okay.
Yep. So our next meeting, what is it, February 9th? This is for the trail map group, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I muted.
It's a Wednesday, I think.
It is at 5:00.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the update on that.
Very exciting.
I was really thrilled that they were going to take the lead on it. Yeah. We might have to, if things get, what were we saying last night? That if things were kind of moving along and we hadn't gotten the grant money yet, we might have to backfill a little bit with some funding to kind of move things along, but.
Right. I think you had to pay and get reimbursed. So we
Right.
might have to put money up front, but we hopefully would get reimbursed.
Yeah, and we can take money out of the Friends group, the money market. As long as it would go back anyway, it would just kind of probably be an easy way to do it,
So
or at least to do part of it.
refresh my memory. If Northampton rolls the map project into their big overarching grant application that they're proposing, do we still apply for the little grant?
No, that we're
No.
going, the Northampton's applying for the grant
Okay,
money.
okay.
Yep.
I think they were thinking otherwise we'd be competing.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
But so we're writing in letters in support of Northampton's grant.
Correct.
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 Okay, good.
Yep. And anything else? Is there any other things that we should be thinking about or working on or planning for? Before we know it, it'll be time to be mulching.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, one thing I noticed last fall when I was on a trail, I forgot where, but I saw a sign that says something like signal before passing. You know anything about that sign and when it was picked up? 'Cause I've seen that same kind of sign, but not on a sign itself, but on written on a pavement. It's some, along different trails in Rhode Island and Connecticut. And I think that's a good idea. We should have more of that signage. Because a lot of people, they don't signal before passing when they're on a bike. And I've seen a lot of almost accidents over there. Yeah.
Well, John, I don't believe it's because they don't know about it. I think it's just
Well,
the
yeah,
nature,
that's true.
the nature of the beast.
True. But I'm just saying that if you have more signage like that, it might, refresh their memory.
I'm not a lover of a ton of signs for things like that.
It
That's just
reminds me of the
personally.
song, sign, everywhere. Sign. Hey, also, maybe somebody's mentioned this and said this, but there's graffiti on the side of the trail shed.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking about that.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna, there was some last week, Peter, and then there was more over the weekend. I'm gonna alert the police department in Williston to keep an eye out, but we'll need to repaint in the spring.
All right. I also tried to get in there. Sadly, it was the coldest day of the year, but I had some pins in a padlock I wanted to throw in the cabinet, and I could not open the door. It was frozen shut.
Wow.
So I'm assuming I just need to hit that on a warmer day, and I can probably get in.
Yeah. Huh. Well, hope so. But, all right. How about our next meeting? Anybody got any days that are better than others? Let's see. Look at calendar here. So the 21st is a holiday. We could do the 28th of February.
Fine with me.
Looks okay. All right, Monday, February 8th, 7:00. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, hold on. You said the last thing you said was 8th, not, it's the 28th, right?
28th.
28th, February 28th.
Okay.
The 21st is a holiday.
Okay. All right, that works. Great.
Okay. All right. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second Wendy's.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see you on the 28th. And
Bye, everyone.
Wendy, just if you could just stop by, that'd be great.